Welcome back to our special coverage here on Q News. Now, discussing the dire situation in Gaza, joining me is Dr. Ahmed Fouad Anwar, who is a researcher in Israeli affairs and an Egyptian Council for Foreign Affairs member as well, joining us from Cairo. Thanks for being here with us. What would you say is the impact on Gaza's population if Nasser Medical Complex and Al Amal Hospital, these medical centers, do close?
After the greetings to you, in fact, it is a humanitarian catastrophe. Given the fact that the shortage of fuel and food that makes the life is impossible, there is no safe zones in Gaza Strip, and the plan is very exposed to push the people towards the Egyptian borders and evacuate the north of the strip in the account of this town. Such a plan has failed throughout 20 months, but Netanyahu insisted for a very narrow calculations by saying that the war goal is the release of the hostages, and in the meantime eliminate Hamas. This goal is contradicted with the others. Both cannot be achieved. Throughout the past phases, he violated the hospital, caused the famine in the presence of the famine in the strip, and expelled the humanitarian institution under the illusion regarding his ability in the provision of this the alternative in the field of the humanitarian aid as well as the health care.
And these two particular hospitals, I think, are very critical to Gaza's overall healthcare system. Would that be right?
Certainly. In the Israeli side, there is a systematic plan targeting hospitals through lies. They started with the National Hospital that was bombarded under the flimsy pretext, and the storming Al Shifa Hospital at Israeli claimed that Yahya Sinwar was hidden under such a hospital. The main role of Nasser complexes that serves the healthcare to the children and the women, and also serve the people that were in outdoor sheltered, among them journalists and elderly people. In the meantime, the occupation is targeting this amount of people and trying to promote lies in order to attack the hospitals. These are systematic attacks. Its goal is make the life unapplicable, and literally the Nasser Complex Medical Center, and this manipulation is too fully exposed for the international community to intervene and to prevent this genocide and deter these barbaric practices along with the alleged pretexts.
Now, only today we had 6 people killed by the Israeli forces as they were approaching an aid distribution center. The IDF said that they were approaching in a threatening manner and that they fired warning shots. Clearly another lie by the Israeli forces, as 6 people ended up being shot dead in this meeting. So we have a situation where hospitals are being destroyed, people can't get to hospitals, aid centers are either closed or they're too dangerous to go anywhere near. How are the people of Gaza meant to deal with a situation like this?
Certainly, the nutrition is under the minimum, and the health care is also under the minimum rate for to be alive. And the Palestinian people trying to result uh, to be solid in light of the absence of the international community, in addition to of the humanitarian order relief centers considered are traps to provide food, and then thousands of women, elderly, and children are gathered to be shelled by the helicopters. It wasn't only one, not only one incident, and even all the centers in the south that luring the people towards the north, seeking the food into the south to be closer to the Egyptian borders, and they might to start maneuvering towards the Egyptian borders. And also they're talking about people looting the aid. The looters are militias affiliated to the occupations and worked previously for the ISIS, and even Netanyahu admitted that they were armed. Yasser Abu Shabab specifically is the owner, or rather the mastermind of this criminal gang that belong to ISIS. So to have a linkage of ISIS is a very problematic issue. Also, the attempts for the people to have collectively displaced, they call it in Tel Aviv, it's voluntarily, but in all cases it is against the international law, and it is considered forcibly displacement by all means.
Now, given all that, is there a role, do you think, that international organizations, governments could play in trying to protect these kind of medical facilities, to stop them from being destroyed, and also to ensure the delivery of these vital medical supplies, which are clearly not getting through?
There are exerted efforts. There is an American veto vis-à-vis 14 voice of UN permanent members and 10 of elected states. Even the ICC and its pursuit of former Ministry of Defense Gallant, along with the Prime Minister. And this one is a precedent step by the ICC and the ICG are international organization pursue the Westerners. So therefore, the functional role being blocked by the US along with the Israeli side. And I think that Israeli public opinion is exerting its pressure because starvation and military repression threaten the lives of 50s of the captives. And it is proved that the gambling and or rather the negotiations would lead the release of the prisoners, and lately the last deal of Gilad Shalit and another deal of the PLO, and throughout the time deals were made of such models. The exchange of life sentence prisoners in the Israeli prisoners, among which women and children. In return, captives of the occupation Israeli soldiers. This formula or model that Netanyahu is trying to evade due to its reluctance not to or insisted of not or to keep his government in office. Now, I think the international community should reconsider its calculations along with several international states. So all these may change the equation and be in favor of the Palestinians. And if there are some breaches by the resistance, the Israeli army committed all the violations, and all these deeds are actually inspired to the devil itself.
Now, you mentioned Israeli public opinion there. Do you think Israeli public opinion, with perhaps international pressure as well, could get the Israeli government to change the way that they are currently behaving in Gaza?
Certainly, there are several variables in the public opinion in Israel, and I think 70% against the orientations of this government. And the Haredi, they are considering to topple the government. They might think of flee out of the boat before it sunk, and the determination of his son Edemener trial in light of the captives and the falling of his son. I think, and now they think about the celebrating the wedding of his son, and I think all these may let others to consider their position, such as the Haredi, that they are rejecting the Zionism in addition to their rejection of the construction in light of the war, and they are running away to get enlisted in the army, which is very shocking for the government. And in addition to of the 48 of the Palestinians in Israel that would represent the fifth of the population do not serve in the army, which is a pressure element upon the government. So there is some sort of a reassessment to the scene, and there are priorities such as recognition of the occupation army committing massacres, targeting civilians and children, and the real war goals, which is, as they claimed, the release of the prisoners being forgotten already.
Well, good to get your insights. Thank you very much. Researcher in Israeli affairs and member of the Egyptian Council for Foreign Affairs, Dr. Ahmed Fouad Anwar. Thank you very much for being here with us.